together. Hi, I'm Richard Lawrence from Barrie, Ontario. We're still working on our two-stroke project for all you two-stroke guys out there. It started out as a 1983 RZ350. We bought the bike, paid $500 for the bike, we ripped it apart. Next day some guy showed up at the door, wanted all the parts, so I haven't spent a lot of money on it. So far it's cost me about $1,000. We're almost 3/4 through the project. So what I've got on the bike now is I got a 2013 R6R rear swing arm. In the last video we drilled holes through here, we welded in the new shanks to accept the pin for the swing arm. So now we got everything centered and balanced. We welded on our brackets for our shock and our lower linkage. The rims I just got on eBay. I paid $500 for those. You can find a lot of resources on eBay. If you're building a bike, you're looking for parts, it's a great place to go. You can get your parts for almost half the cost. If you're doing a project, you can save a lot of money. It's a great place. So the tank we got off an R1. I wasn't sure if it was going to fit, but I ordered the tank anyways on eBay. It has the perfect shape of the frame from the 1983 RZ350. We had to cut off a big chunk because the tank was too long at the bottom. So basically took a die grinder, we wrapped tape around, marked the tank up so we got a good fit. And we took this off, the fuel pump come off. Because it's two-stroke, it's going to run a different type of fuel pump. We mounted in the engine today so I could line up my sprockets. We had an issue when we built the bike. We had to stretch the 3/4 inch on the frame, and I picked up a sprocket. It's an extended sprocket. It's 25 mil from a company in the US. They build parts and race parts for the Banshees. Banshees have the same motor, the RZ350. So we had to take off the motor mounts. We had to re-weld them back almost 3/4 of an inch so that the sprocket and the chain line up properly. So we're mid mock-up right now. We're going to build in the tail section in the next video. I'm going to put in tabs on each side. It's going to be aluminum frame for the rear end, and it's going to have 4 pins. So if you're out on the track, you have to do work, suspension adjustment, anything like that, you just pull the 4 pins, the whole section will come off. It makes it quick, 30 seconds, you're back on the track again. The front end is off a 2013 R6R. It was kind of hard to find. I shopped around for about a month to find it on eBay. I paid $450 for it. It came with the controls, the brakes, the calipers, the bolt for the front end. The only issue that we had is the RZ350 has a different type of bearing that holds in the pin for the yoke. The bearings are too big. So with the old school bike, they had little bearings set in place without a cage. So we had to get ball bearings that were exactly a millimeter shorter than the 2013 R6. And we mounted them in, and that'll fit. It'll be a nice fit. We had to take out inside the race almost 1.5 mil on the top and the bottom for that pin to go through. You want to make sure you take off enough, because once your bearing's in, you don't want that pin rubbing on the frame. It could cause you that issue, it could crack. So we solved that issue. The tires are Michelin Pilots. Got those on sale at St. Ange in Barrie, Ontario. It was $225 for both tires. Took me 5 minutes to install them. They're a great tire. Everybody I know nowadays, they use those. A lot of guys doing track days still use those rather than slicks. They're a great tire. They last a bit longer, so it wasn't a bad deal. So far, $1,000 into it. The next step we're going to have to take is I'm going to have to do the mock-up for the rear swing arm and the mock-up for the tail section, and then I'm going to have to get the fairing, and I'm going to have to weld tabs. All of this section here in the front of the bike, I got to make a carbon fiber plate to cover these holes up. The older RZ had a little plastic cap that went in there, looked like crap. So we're going to get the new carbon fiber sheeting, and basically what you do is you use a heat gun and you bend that carbon fiber to the shape you need it. You got to be very careful when you do it, a little bit at a time, and then it won't crack. It'll give you a nice mold or whatever you need to bend, and it'll work out fine. So basically what I got to do is I got a gap here in the tank, so there's a cover section that has to be cut. So when I order those covers, I got to use a die grinder and very slowly take off the bottom side, and then I got to make a plate to cover this area in here. Now there's enough room underneath the gas tank because you got the plastic cover. The gas tank stops here. The battery used to be in the back, the fuse box and everything used to sit in the tail section, but I want to make it removable. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to have the battery fit inside, so I got to make a bracket and housing for the battery. and that way I can just undo 3 screws. I can get at the battery, I can get at everything inside the computer system. There's 2 companies out there. One of them is in Germany. They make an ignition system. It's fully modifiable. You can set your timing just by a click. You plug in a USB port to a computer. You can adjust everything in there. The carburetors, we're going to put in 38mm carbs, and they're going to be jetted with a second jet that sits outside near the airbox. Those jets are similar to what they use on an RC plane, and they're used for high speed. A lot of MotoGP guys, the old school guys, they used to add those jets. That way when you get up to 100, 120 miles an hour, you get a little more fuel in there, and it really makes a big difference at top end, and it should be able to push the bike to 180 miles an hour, which is pretty quick. The engine's going to get an upgrade. We're going to get a 10mm ditch crank, and we're going to install a 521 kit. The 521 at 12,000 RPM puts out about 200 horsepower. 180 to 200 is pretty good. The estimated weight of the bike is going to be about 290 pounds, which is very light for a GP bike. So if anybody's interested, don't be shy to send me an email. Don't be shy to send me a note on Facebook if you have any questions. And like I said before, anybody can build one of these bikes. It's not difficult. It's just a little bit of time consuming, a little bit of elbow grease, and they're not too bad to build. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video, and we'll have the tail section mounted and mocked up. Later.